Hello. Hi, somebody. How are you? Hey, Jill. How are you? Hey, Blue Shroom. I don't think I've seen your name before. How are we all today? Oh, is everybody having a great Saturday? Or is it Saturday where you are? Maybe it's past Saturday. I'm not bad. Somebody. How are you? Have you been up to much today? I Hi. I'm not bad. How are you? Hi, Penelope. Hope I've said that right. Samurai, good. Hi, Hania, how are you? What has everyone been up to on this fine Saturday, which has just rained all day? It's just rained all day, cloudy and rainy. Um, Hi, Safina, how are you? I'm currently reading 3 books at once at the moment. Hey, Billy, how are you? I'm not bad. Hania, how are you? I'm currently still making my way through Dark Age. I was reading It Happened One Summer. How's it going, Jill? How many pages are you in? I'm currently reading Dark Age. I'm on page 400. There's 700 pages in it, so I'm struggling actually at the moment. And then I'm reading Shadows of Self by Brandon Sanderson, and then I'm reading. Uh, I'm going to start The Bitter Twins by Jen Williams. 86. Very good, Jill. Hi, I am Hannah. Great, Hannah. Your name is in there somewhere. Hi, Sugar. How are you? I don't really want to finish Dark Age by Pierce Brown. Because then I'm gonna have to wait a whole year for the next book, which comes out in May. So I'm reading 100 pages of it at a time, and then I'm reading 50 pages of Shadow of Self at a time, and then I'm reading 50 pages of The Bitter Twins, and then I'm kind of going around in a circle. Um, so then, you finish one, and then you pick up another one, you add it into rotation. It just happens sometimes whenever I'm reading really thick books that I kind of get, it takes a couple of days to get through maybe 500 pages, and you get a wee bit, not sick of it, but you just want to kind of change up the pace. I'm reading The Silent Patient. I just started like 5 minutes ago. That's great. I don't think I've read that one. What's it about? Um, what is everyone reading at the moment? But Dark Age is very good by Pierce Brown. Shadow of Self, which is Mistborn Era 2, is really really good. It's kind of like a really chilled out fantasy book. I think I have read that. Can't remember. I think it might have been a while ago, but it is good. It's very good. You should definitely read it. Is 11 Minutes by Paulo Coelho worth reading? I don't know, Jill. I haven't read that. What's it about? Or maybe I can tell you if it's worth reading. Is it a romance novel, or is it about um what's it about? I'll be able to tell you what I think. I'm able to read a whole story, read a whole storybook in a day or two, but like books in my syllabus, I don't know why I'm not able to read even some. Probably just because it's text, isn't it, Sugar? Like it's not a story. You're not reading a story. You're just reading text of information that you really want to absorb, but you're not finding it interesting to absorb, even though it's in a subject you're studying, obviously. If only they could make textbooks all stories in a sense. I suppose that's why they use examples and stuff in them to try and make it more interesting. What do you think about the Inheritance games? They're a great series. Definitely rated it. You probably have read it though. Um, with textbooks, sugar, I just try and find ones that have like examples of of someone performing the action of the text that they're describing, because it's just it can be really boring to understand. Or audio of the textbooks maybe, and then play it back over and over. And maybe you'll find it a bit more interesting that way. Um, but yeah, we're yeah, I'm also gonna read Inheritance Game like after my exams. How many exams have you got, Sugar? Are they coming up soon, or are they another while away? Um, what the where's everyone from in the chat? Where are you all from? I'm from the UK. It's some sort of monthly exam. Oh, just kind of like a check-up exam to see are you absorbing the knowledge then? Did you see the news that they're gonna make Aragon? They're gonna do a remake of the Aragon films, or they're gonna adapt the Aragon books into new films. Hopefully, I think in a couple of years' time. Which should be exciting. I quite enjoyed the first movie and the first book. I never read further than the first book though. Have any of you read the Aragon books? Um, yeah, Anna. It is good. Yeah. Are you planning to pick them up, Anna, or what's your plan? Um, yeah. Hopefully they get the casting right, and they get a good. Apparently, the author of Aragon is going to be really involved. Um, I read and watched Shadow and Bone. The Shadow and Bone series is great. The TV show is amazing. I really actually like the casting. When I first saw the trailers for Shadow and Bone, I did think we were going to see another CW show, but they really invested in the budget. And the show looks great. I'm really excited for season 2. I think that's this year or next year. The Silent Patient is a psychological thriller about a seemingly perfect girl, Elisa, who one night shoots her husband 5 times and never speaks about it again. That is really, that got really dark really fast when I was reading that. Yeah, that sounds great. I prefer those sort of stories in movie form. Because I find it really gripping. Psychological thrillers. I haven't really read that many psychological thrillers, so I can't really give an honest opinion on them. But maybe they're just as good as watching the films, reading the psychological thrillers at the same time. Um, do any of you know when Shadow and Bone season 2 is coming out? Because that's actually one I would definitely jump on. I know the Sandman TV show comes out in next Friday on Netflix, so that'll be an interesting one. I haven't read the comic books or anything, but I just know there's a lot of hype about it. And that there was a good audiobook recently for it. Which book do I recommend? Anna, what would you be interested in? Fantasy, or sci-fi, or would you like some magical realism fantasy, or something like that? Yeah. Um, but yeah, Shadow. Don't know of any other adaptations that are coming out. Hey, someone, have you got 2 accounts? Maybe, or is that? I definitely thought your name had thing. Sugar, yeah. Yeah, that's great. Like, could I recommend some fantasy romance? Some fantasy romance. Actually, the Final Empire, Mistborn Book 1 actually has a lot of romance in it between the two main characters. And it's a good beginner for anyone who would like to start high fantasy. I actually have a video coming out on a fantasy series for beginners in 2022, and Mistborn is the series I'll be talking about. So you need to watch out for that video when it comes out. But yeah, there's like kind of ballroom scenes mixed in with that. Jelly Mushroom. I want to buy a new book. Do you have any recommendations, Jelly? Would you like a big, massive fantasy book, or would you like something a bit shorter? You want a book that's based in Edinburgh in Scotland? There is City of Ghosts by V. Swab. In any case, a big hug from Italy. Thanks, Donna. I'm trying to think of other, like, have you read the Cassandra Clare books? They're all fantasy romance, really. The Shadowhunter series, a lot of that. There's a lot of fantasy romance there. It's the reason why I love that series so much, because it is such a mix of fantasy elements. You know, yeah. What series do you recommend I should read? If you're series you'd like me to talk about on the channel and stuff. I recorded the video about what you all thought were your favorite characters of 2022 so far. So if you're one of the people who commented on that community post, that video will be out soon. I'm thinking of doing another community post to ask what people's least favorite books have been this year and what your least favorite characters have been, and then maybe one on what your favorite trilogies have been this year. If anyone's been really, really pumping their way through the books, they'll have read some of them. Plot twists books with massive plot twists. That is a good question. What have I read recently with big plot twists? That is a difficult one. The Poppy War. I think the Poppy War maybe had a twist. There's twists in Red Rising, but you've all heard me talk about Red Rising enough that you don't want to hear about that anymore. The First Law trilogy has a twist in it, but then again, it's very dark and grimdark. What are some books that made you really cry? Tattooist of Auschwitz. Beartown was quite depressing. Thank you, Samaria. I can't pronounce that second word, and I'm not going to attempt it because I don't want to make a mistake. Books that made me cry. Yeah, a couple of those Murakami books are very depressing. Like, they have really sad endings. No Longer Human is quite sad. Some of the Cassandra Clare books, some of the Shadowhunter books actually have like really massive plot twists at the end, and like characters die like at the end of some of those books, and like, it can be really sudden, and then the book can end. What is my favorite book? What is my favorite book at the moment? Recency Bias, Golden Sun, in the Red Rising series. What's the worst book I've read? Now, none of the books I've read I've actually been, like, I don't want to say they've been the worst, because some people enjoy them when others don't. But one of my least favorite books at the moment has been The Three Body Problem. It was really bad. I really cried during Meet Me in the Middle by Alex Light. The author described the pain of the characters, the point you could feel it too. Wow, that's amazing. I'll have to check that out. My dog is currently out for the count. It's kind of really humid today, so she's just kind of really puffed out. Maybe turn the camera to show you all. She is puffed out, exhausted. It's about 8 o'clock where I am at the moment, so it's nearly time for her to go to bed. Have I read The Invisible Life by Ali Laurie? I haven't. What's it about? Would you like to write a book? Possibly a short story, maybe, or maybe just something online, maybe like a web novel. I wouldn't be great at it. But maybe I would like to create my own story and my own world. I think that would be cool. but I don't have an English degree, and I didn't do English for my leaving subjects of school. I did do them for, you know, the GCSEs and stuff. I don't know if you have GCSEs in your country or what the in your countries or what the equivalent would be. But yeah, maybe I would. Maybe a fantasy book would be cool. A short novel or a short story would be cool. Take inspiration from all the books that I've read in the last year. Tatiana, no problem. How are you today? Make sure to like the live stream, guys. I really appreciate it. How is there any other book news that you've all seen recently that maybe I've missed? I try my best to keep up. I know obviously with loads. Recommend me a book where you should read the Corval series. I have it on the list. Don't worry. Recommend me a book where the village takes over, but there's a huge comeback of the hero. Oh, sorry, villain. Why did I read that village? Villain. Red Rising. That happens. Don't want to say when. Today I got the live notification like 15 minutes later. I want up. I don't know why it happens like that. I thought maybe. Did you check the Blades of the Guardians? Yes, I've seen the trailer and I'm gonna watch it when it comes out. Great recommendation. Definitely gonna watch it when it comes out. It's not out for a while, isn't it? Not. It's not out for a while. A book where the villain wins, and then the hero comes back. I think that happens in The Weight of Time a couple of times, but it's never the big bad. Doesn't happen in Mistborn. That's actually an interesting trope. I can read the first 100. Oh yes, because it's a Chinese novel, isn't it? Or it's a Chinese webtoon comic. Sorry, so I could read it. I think I'll just wait until the show comes out, and then I'll watch the show maybe. If you could marry any character from any book, who would it be? Definitely Mustang from the Red Rising series. You should go look at fan art of her. A book where the villain falls for the hero. A book where the villain falls for the hero. George Orwell, 1984. That happens, but that's just because of the way society's set up. Give me a minute. I suppose Vicious, maybe Suave. That kind of happens. I suppose if. Yeah. Well, I think the sister and then the main character. Yeah. What else? Sally Rooney. No, I don't know. Suggest me some books where that trope happens. That's an interesting trope, you know. If you were to write a book, what genre would it be? Probably fantasy. Or maybe a genre I really like is like dystopian fantasy. So like where it's society was kind of at the same stage as us, and then things kind of crashed and burned, and they went back to like, you know, the 1900s or 1800s, where it was horse carriages and you know, no electricity per se. But they're kind of modernized enough, and then they discover that they were actually more of a modernized society in the world. So maybe something like that. Also, fantasy romance would be pretty